So let's see, Gunfather episode on Derringer. This one's actually pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of people kind of laugh at Derringer guns, how tiny they are and whatnot. However, some pretty cool shit about those. For the part, the Deadwood Outlaw Gunners episode is just about wrapped up. It's amazing to me how like history and legends and all this type of stuff is just like so inaccurate. Um, and they kind of like try to make these people look like heroes when a lot of them are pretty freaking scumbags, man. But you know, that's kind of Wild West for you. Um, they make, TV. They make, for instance, Seth Bullock, who's the sheriff in the TV series Deadwood. Seth Bullock, he was appointed a sheriff temporarily while it was just the Dakota Territories, and he wasn't really violent or anything like that. But the show, they make him look like this badass. I mean, he's a politician. But you've got Calamity Jane with Doris Day, who they, you know, with the Calamity Jane musical, where they've got this pretty lady and she's in love with Wild Bill Hickok and all that shit. The best part about it is Wild Bill Hickok was married to a different person. If you guys had already watched that episode on my Outlaw Gunner series, I kind of cover that. But like, you know, Calamity Jane is just so nuts. She would make up all sorts of crazy stuff like her and Wild Bill Hickok had a love child, or she divorced Wild Bill so he could go marry this rich Barnum lady, and then that way he could earn a better living and all that stuff. When truth be told, in actuality, they knew each other about 3 weeks. Charlie Utter, who owns a freight moving stagecoach company at the time from Colorado, was doing a wagon train of supplies and everything up to the Deadwood area in the Black Hills. That way they could provide for all the stores, saloons, orders, everything along that line. Calamity Jane was working for him as a scout, going on ahead, making sure that, the roads were cleared and whatnot, or which route to go from Colorado up to Deadwood, the Dakota Territory at the time. Uh, Wild Bill Hickok did a lot of, I mean, nowadays we would call it contractor work, or whatever. I don't know, you could say mercenary, I suppose. But um, he was one of the people that was hired by Utter to kind of ride up there. Plus, he was taking some of the money from his wife and her circus that they used to have, and he's going to try to open up a mining claim. Fortunately, though, he had a gambling problem, and he pissed away quite a bit of money. But as it goes, Calamity Jane used to just irritate the living shit out of him. Like, he could not stand that woman. I mean, she was a pretty disgusting person. I mean, all around, just not the greatest. She did a few good things, but the fact that she's a Wild West legend just blows my mind because how god awful she is. Um, for her first pump through Deadwood, Al Swearingen, who, if you guys have watched the series, hey Antonino, what's up, man? If you guys have ever seen the series, he's the main guy that says cocksucker all the time. He's got the mustache and all that stuff. Now the real one in real life did own the Gem Saloon, but it was actually called the Gem Theater. He had actually hired Calamity Jane to sex traffic 10 prostitutes from Nebraska up to them in the Dakota Territory. So whatever hero of the West moniker that Calamity Jane gets is complete bullshit. Um, let's see who else here on the list. Wild Bill Hickok. They make him out to sound like this badass gunner and all this stuff. He'd been in a few gunfights. He fought in the Civil War and he helped track down Confederate war criminals for a while, but for the most part, it was just inflated ego. Um, so it's just funny to me with these Wild West tales and everything along that line. You find out the truths about these people, and it's like, wow, it's been completely wrong the entire time. But, Deadwood, what's interesting about it is they call it the last place of the Wild West. Then, it was annexed and then turned into a state. But, the interesting part about it, though, is just how much crime went on there. I mean, the town itself was illegal. It was on the Lakota tribe, on their territory in the Black Hills, and so people from the United States and Canada, Canadian territories and stuff weren't even supposed to be over there in the first place. So it starts that way. You get guys like Al Swearingen, who's a pimp, moves up there, runs a brothel, playhouse, gambling, alcohol, you know, different parts of the thoroughfare or whatnot he owned, and he would rent out to people or sell it. He's selling land out that wasn't even his land to sell in the first place. And the only reason as to why the U.S. government never rolled through there and shut it all down and kicked everybody out and told them they had to get back into the United States territory that wasn't promised to the Lakota tribe is because Custer and his cavalry rolled through and they found out that shit, there's a lot of gold mines out here. So when the federal government, you know, gets a little bit of wind that there's going to be gold out there, they get excited and then they go, you know what? Why don't we just ignore these guys for now and pretend they're not here? And, you know, and that's how it progressed and how Deadwood and South Dakota became a state because of all the money and all the gold in the Black Hills and whatnot. So, you know, as much as we like to think that people's intentions are good, it's all about the dollar. But, you know, it is what it is. Why it was called the Wild West. Yeah, pretty much, man. You know, and like Seth Bullock, who he was temporarily the sheriff for 9 months, Wyatt Earp and his brothers actually went up there and tried to muscle into everything, and they got chased. And that's why they ended up in Tombstone. I mean, originally they're from Jefferson City, but, you know, they had a pretty, you know, that notoriety of gunslinging and all that stuff. Wyatt Earp, you know, everybody thinks of this benevolent hero from watching Tombstone that Kurt Russell portrays, but Wyatt Earp was a fucking racketeer. He ran gambling halls, whorehouses. They'd go and take over cities, you know, and it's just, you know, all the legends and everybody making themselves sound good is just hilarious to me. It's just reputation. But I don't know. Kind of interesting facts on Deadwood. I'm just about finished editing the last bit. One unique thing about South Dakota is there is the Deadwood brothel, and that was open all the way up until 1980. You know, so 45 years ago they shut it down. Now it's just a museum. But that's kind of just some interesting facts. A lot of murders. Dead Man's Hand with Wild Bill Hickok. Everybody knows about that. Funny content that's going to be coming out. My wife and I were talking about this the other day. So Pierre, South Dakota has the shittiest drivers anybody's ever seen in their life. There's a lot of drunk drivers. There's a lot of people that'll be driving head on, not paying attention. We got a dashboard cam, and you know, we're just every time we get in the car and drive, it just automatically records, and we just talk shit completely the entire time on the people and how piss poor their driving is and all that stuff. I don't know. I think it's funny. I also think it's good to show that there's a real fucking problem here in Pierre, South Dakota, with people in their shitty driving and drunk driving all the time. And it's like, well, how do you resolve something like this? You get people in the public to see it. So I don't know. Look forward to that. Once I get you know, some stuff up for that one. You guys are in for some humor or activism, I suppose, advocating for people driving drunk and all that bullshit. Because one of the problems here, you've got two time zones. You've got Pierre, which is on Central. You cross over the Missouri River on over to Fort Pierre. You've got Mountain Time. Well, what the drunks like to do is when closing time is at 1 o'clock or whatever in the morning, they like to head on over the bridge to Fort Pierre, where they got another hour of drinking to do. And so, I mean, there's been a lot of issues, a lot of fatalities. You know, you drive alongside the roads in South Dakota, for those that have never been, and there's always going to be these signs that are marked for fatalities of people in their driving. In some places, there's seriously 3 right in a row, you know, whether it be from one collision or some others. I don't know, it's pretty nuts. But, you know, that's kind of an idea what we got going on. But I'm just going to end it here, just doing a quick one, you guys. And I do have some gun drills coming out. I'm editing that footage too. I got a pretty good shooting session in today. Yeah, and me and this dude been just working on his skills, getting him into being a good hunter. But anyways, you guys, Antonino, thanks for dropping in, sir. Anybody that watches the replay, thanks so much. I appreciate you guys. And then when that new stuff comes out, I'll make sure to get that for you so you can check it out, get some laughs or whatnot. Take care.